Hey beauties, it's your girl Jessica Nicole, and in today's video we will be learning how to seamlessly blend some eyeshadow. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I always tell you guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on all social medias, and again, enjoy. Alright guys, so as you guys can see, my face is fully done. I did my foundation, my highlight, my contour, and everything in the book. So the only thing we have left to do is le ojos. I know I said that wrong, guys. I know I did, okay? You don't have to tell me in the comments below. I know I said it wrong. Now, I will not be teaching you guys anything about brushes, but if you want to learn anything about eye brushes, Alyssa Ashley has a great segment on her channel called Brush Bootcamp. It teaches you a lot about brushes, about eyeshadow brushes, and I think she did one on face. I'm not sure, but I know she did eyeshadow brushes, and it was a really good segment, so you guys could check that out. If you guys want to see how I do my foundation routine, if this is bothering you that I did not do this, you guys can go in the description bar down below. There will be a link down below for the video on how I do my foundation routine. So yeah, I'm going to now go into... Okay, so an important step in doing eyeshadows that you guys should obviously know if you guys watch any YouTube videos when it comes to eyeshadow is priming the lids. Some use concealer and some use, of course, eyeshadow primers. I personally do not like using concealer. It just does not work for me for some odd reason. So I usually use eyeshadow primer. So for today's eyeshadow primer or base, I will be using the Smashbox 24-hour photofinish eyeshadow primer. I usually use my fingers, but lately I've just been using a brush, and I'm just going to be using this little bullet pointed brush, I guess. Not, but I got it from BH Cosmetics. So I'm just going to take a little bit onto the brush and just apply this all over the lid. I do it from the lid all the way up close to the brow bone area because, you know. So some eyeshadow primers, such as this one, you don't have to set it because it sets itself, but because I want to speed through this process, I'm just going to use a translucent powder to set it. But if you're using concealer or you're using a stickier eyeshadow base, I do suggest that you set it, because if you don't, your eyeshadow will skip and we will just start off with a bad eyeshadow look. I'm just going to be using my M511 from Morphe. I'm using this because it is fluffier and it has like a nice little pointed tip at the end. So I'm going to use this and this Derma Blend loose setting powder. I do not use this on my face. I only use this for eyeshadow, and I'm just going to set brow bone to crease area. I usually set my lid as well, but I'm not going to do that today. So now we're going to start off with a transition shade. Now for your transition shade, you always want to use something that is closer to your skin tone so that you don't have like this harsh line right here. Like, you look at some people's eyeshadow and it's like really harsh from the brow bone to the eyeshadow. You don't want that look, so you would have to use a transition shade. I usually use Saddle from MAC because it is very close to my skin tone. You will want to use something close to your skin tone, probably a little bit deeper, so that blending everything is gradual from the brow bone all the way down to the lid. So I'm going to be using the Morphe M511, and I'm going to be using this brush because, as you guys can see, it's fluffy. When the brush is fluffier, it's not going to deposit the eyeshadow very densely. It will deposit it very lightly, so it's easier to blend the eyeshadow out. So I'll be using Saddle from MAC again, like I said. And one mistake that I realize people do when they're doing eyeshadow is they dip into the eyeshadow a lot. It is easier to apply a little bit and gradually put more on, so to build the color up, than to just pack on the color, because then you're going to just have this big thing that it's going to be harder to blend out. So what I would say is once or twice into the eyeshadow and then blend, and if you feel like the color is not intense enough, of course you can build it up. It's always easier to put on than to take away. Got it? So you're not going to be applying this directly into the crease. Some people do. I don't apply the shadow directly into the crease. I apply it a little bit above the crease, and I would start in the outer area of the eye and I will use a circular motion, and then I will use windshield wipe motions in the crease. See? And again, I feel like it's not intensified enough. You just go back and forth in that area. If there's any issues with blending and you feel like it's not blending enough, you can always do the circular motion in and out of that area, back and forth, just like you're doing windshield wipe motion. If you guys watch my videos, you guys see that our brush is shedding. You guys see that I would do this and then do this, because that's how I blend. Now I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the shadow. And another thing that I do a lot is I tap the excess off of the brush, because you don't want fallout, and that is the easiest way to get a ton of fallout. Some eyeshadows still have fallout regardless of whatever, but if you tap the excess off of the brush, you'll be fine. It's the same thing with powder that you put on your face. If you tap off the excess, it'll be easier to work with. And I feel like that is blended enough. You guys can see a big difference between both eyes with the transition shade laid down. And as you guys can see, it's not a big difference between the brow bone and my transition shade. So I'm just going to apply this to the other eye. So for this eyeshadow look, I'm just going to go into my ABH Shadow Couture palette, the Royal Traveler palette. I use this palette all the time when I want something very neutral. If not, I use my 35O. But 35O doesn't have any names, so I'd rather use this to get the eyeshadow look that I want. So I'm going to be using my I think this is a number 12 brush from BH Cosmetics. Correct me if I'm wrong. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my number 12 brush from BH Cosmetics. Now I'm using this brush just because, as you guys can see, compared to the M511, it is a little bit smaller and a little less wider. I'm just going to take this, and this is not a crease color. I'm just going to take this brush. The color that I'm using is not a crease color. It is just a second color underneath the transition, just to, again, get the colors to gradually go into each other. So I'm going to go into Morocco, which is like a redder undertoned color compared to Saddle. So I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to go right underneath Saddle. And again, I'm going to apply, I'm just going to go basically into the crease. And again, I'm going to apply most of the eyeshadow in the outer area of the eye, and then just blend it inside of the crease and windshield wiper. And if the second color you put down, you feel like it's a little too harsh for the second color, you could just go in with the first brush that you use. Do not apply any product onto the brush. This brush is just going to help you blend, and you're just going to blend the outer area of that eyeshadow just to make sure, of course, it looks seamless. And I do this a lot because sometimes it may look blended to me, and then when I look at it on pictures, it looks bad. I just do that just because. Okay, so one thing I did not teach you guys, the lower you hold the brush, the less product you deposit. So if you want a lot of product, of course you're going to hold the brush really close to the bristles. But if you want the color to be deposited very lightly, of course you would hold it at the end of the brush. So now we're going to go to crease color. And usually I would either use my I think this is 101 brush from BH Cosmetics, or my R38 from Morphe. Now if you guys can see, these brushes are smaller, the bristles are closer together, so that means when you use the brush, it will get deep into that crease and define that crease as much as possible. But because I don't want my crease super defined, I will not be using my R38, at least not as of yet. I'll be using my number 101 brush from BH Cosmetics. I'm going to be using Fudge from the palette, which is my absolute favorite crease color in the world. I'll be using that and applying that into my face. So again, 2 dips into the product and tap off the excess. And again, I'm going to start in the outer V of the eye and bring it into the crease. And guys, eyeshadow just takes a lot of patience. You see, if you look at the eyeshadow, the crease color is super harsh. So we're just gonna keep blending, and sometimes if you feel like it's not working, you can hold the brush at different angles. I learned that one from Crispy. Crispy showed me that if you hold the brush at this angle, it will also help the eyeshadow to blow out a lot better. Alright, so now I'm going to go back in with the lash brush again. And again, guys, I'm doing that because I want the eyeshadow to look as seamless as possible and very, very blended. So I'm just going to go in with the lash brush I used, which was the number 12 brush from BH Cosmetics. And I'm just going to blend out that crease. And if you guys feel like it is not working as far as it blending, you can go back into the shadow that you used before that, which was Morocco. And some people were asking me, like, basically, why do I use so many shadows? Sometimes when something's not blending, I will go into the shadow that I used before that to help the shadow blend out. That's why I do that. So I'm just going to pick up Morocco because clearly this doesn't want to blend. I just dipped into the color once. I'm just going to blend on top of Fudge so that the color blends out a little bit more. And then I'm just going to take my M511, nothing on it again, and just blow that eyeshadow out. Just want to make sure everything is blended seamlessly. Alright, so I'm just going to do the other eye right now. Now we're going to move on to the lid, and then we're going to move back into the crease and some extra blending. Now, I like matte eyes all around. Some people like shimmer. So today I'm going to do shimmer on the lid. And you guys know for my lid shimmer color, I love to use the color Bellini from the palette. So I'm going to be using Bellini today. Now, with shimmer shades, the best way to get color payoff on the eyes is your fingers. Hands down, your fingers is the best way to get color payoff. But if you guys are like me and you get your nails done, these are my real nails, by the way. If you get your nails done, it's going to be harder to apply that color onto the lid because your nails will be in the way. So if you want, you could just use a flat concealer brush and you just take the color and you pack it on. As far as matte colors, because I know some of you guys are like me and you like to put matte colors on the lid. When you're using matte colors, I suggest that you use something like this, which is a little bit more fluffier, so it picks up the product and it applies the product a little bit heavier, and the color payoff is beautiful. And of course, when you're applying the eyeshadow, again, you would pat the eyeshadow on instead of swiping it, because of course when you swipe the eyeshadow, you're not getting that much product onto the lid. So you would pack the eyeshadow on and just pray for no fallout. So again, I'm going to go into the color Bellini from the palette. And because I'm not using my finger, but I want the same effect, I'm just going to be spraying the brush. And again, I'm going to be using tapping motions with this brush to get the color payoff that I need. Now the lid colors are on and they're looking nice. So if you guys want and you feel like you want to define the crease more, you would take a smaller brush. Again, this is my R38 from Morphe, and you would dip back into your crease color, which would be fudge, and you would go back into the crease. So you would help to also blend the crease out and to make sure that the lid color seems seamless. So you're going to be blending out the lid color as well. I'm going to go back into my transition shade. Okay, this is just something that I do. Everybody doesn't do it and you don't have to do it, and I'm not saying you need to, but I'm gonna go back into my transition shade with my transition shade brush. I'm gonna make sure that everything is blended out. So right now I'm just going to apply wing liner and lashes. I have a tutorial for those two things coming. Don't worry, I will be teaching you guys whatever tips and tricks I know as we go along. So I'm just going to apply some wing liner and some lashes, and I'll be right back. Okie dokie. So lashes are on, wing liner is on. I just felt like wing liner would look like real cute with this. Sometimes I don't wear wing liner with this, so it's like I felt very wing liner-ish. Okay, so onto the lower lash line, because again, we are teaching you guys how to blend eyeshadow. So for the lower lash line, I'm just going to be putting a little bit of black eyeliner. If I did not have wing liner on, I would use a brown eyeliner and just smoke out the bottom lash line. I'm going to be using my Makeup Geek Full Spectrum Gel Eyeliner Pencil. And this is in the color Obsidian. You guys know I love this eyeliner pencil. I love the line. They're amazing. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to line my waterline, my lower lash line. And to take this flat definer brush and I'm just going to take up fudge from the palette. And I'm going to put this underneath the eyeliner pencil and also help blend out the black eyeliner pencil. I'm going to take this bullet blending brush, and this is the number 105 from BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to take Morocco. I'm going to blend right underneath, and I'm just doing that to make sure that the crease in the lower lash line matches. And I blend underneath and I go up into the color that is close to the lower lash line, just so that everything is blended well together. And again, take your time with blending this out. Right, so of course we have one more thing to do, and that is the inner corner highlight. So usually for my inner corner highlight, I go into my Makeup Geek shadows because I have a lot of dual chrome eyeshadows, and I like to put dual chrome in my inner corner for some reason. So I'm just gonna take this blending brush, which is very small. I'm going to use that as my brush to apply my inner corner highlight. Oh, into Phantom, and I'm gonna put that, and I usually put the eyeshadow and blend up into the top and bottom shadow so everything looks blended together. So guys, this is the finished look when everything is completed, and this is literally like something I love to do. Like, this is like me. This is me in an eyeshadow look completely. Like, I could wear this shit every fucking day. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I always tell you guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on all social medias. And if you guys have any questions as far as eyeshadows, do not be afraid to put them in the comments down below. And I love you guys so much. And I will see you guys in my next video.